Much has happened literally in the past 12 hours. It is mind-blowing, but Trump has called on Mike Johnson to make a lot of decisions in the next 12 hours, guys. We are going to see whether Mike Johnson is the guy for the GOP or whether he's going to follow Trump's agenda or not. Guys, this is big. Look at the statement that he made. He said, there aren't any easy decisions left. House GOP, the whole House is waiting on Johnson's play call on Trump's agenda. We're about to go over the big things that Trump has called on Johnson to do in the next 12 hours. And everybody's looking at Mike Johnson about what he's going to do. And a lot of people are saying, this guy don't got it. This is huge, guys, what we're about to talk about. One of the biggest things is Pete Hegseth, Trump have come out and said they want to move the worst of the worst criminals out of the United States of America and back to Guantanamo Bay. He has signed an executive order and has signed all the things necessary. He wants to do it fast. He says we can't have the worst of the worst criminals here in the U.S. We need to secure America and we need to move fast. On top of that, there's been a lot of things that have happened with the plane crash, the unfortunate plane crash and the helicopter. It's been horrible. Trump has called for a complete investigation looking into, and he is citing that he believes that it was DEI that is to blame. And he wants a full investigation into every single leadership and who appointed the pilots, who was involved, air traffic control, everything. Huge investigations are happening. Just waiting on Mike Johnson. On top of that, Kash Patel for FBI director, Tulsi Gabbard for director of intelligence, Rfk Jr. for health and human services secretary. Their hearings are going on today, guys. I've never seen so much fighting in Congress going back and forth between nominees and the Democrats. I mean, it is getting heated. You're about to see some of the most called out, the truth being spoken by RFK, by Kash Patel. They literally let us know. Kash Patel calls out the Democratic leadership for the January 6th protest that they called an insurrection, citing that it was the Democratic leadership that caused the riot. He even said, I'm going to release all the files and evidence showing you where the blame lies. On top of that, he said, I'm going to release the Epstein list. I'm going to release the Secret Service attempted assassination attempts on Trump's life records. He said, we need to build trust back into the America's FBI department, and we have to do it fast. On top of that, RFK today, guys, I've never seen this done, called out Bernie Sanders, and he said, everybody on this panel, all you Democrats, have accepted millions of dollars from Big Pharma, and that's why you're fighting me so hard. And guys, the whole room erupted, guys. This is nuts what you're about to see. We got so much breaking news today. I want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button so I can take care of you every day with the top news. And thank you to all of our members of the channel. If you want to be a member, the link is in the description to join. Remember, we use our memberships and super chats to give back to charity once a month. And thank you to everybody that gives a super chat donation. I want to give some shout outs to Elaine Demeen and Jack Jordan. Let's go. Y'all show them some love in the chat. And if you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button, guys. It really does help the channel. Let's hit that 1,000 likes, guys. I'm so excited for today's show. Let's jump right into it, guys, because these hearings are getting crazy. Check this out. Oh, sorry, guys. 1 second.
Nominated to Secretary of HHS was up on Capitol Hill at a hearing. And there were a lot of things that happened up there that are important for us to understand the political environment of the time. This is an amazing time to be alive. Michael, you ever seen anything like this where we're watching the role reversal of the two parties in live time? The Democrats previously claimed, it's important, to be the party of tolerance, the working man, coexistence, attacking big pharma. To watch this role reversal in live time, where the Democrats attack the working man, engage in full-blown lack of coexistence and tolerance by claiming if you're white, if you're Jewish, if you're Asian, you're not one of us, you're white adjacent. But if you meet these criteria, I mean, the most racist people possible is the modern liberal, right? Have you ever seen a role reversal like this? Democrats attacking tech companies, supporting big pharma. I've never seen anything like this. And I don't use that term big pharma as a pejorative. They're just big companies. I know the Democrats do. Thank God we have pharmaceutical companies, that kept me alive after I got cancer, that have created modern medicine. Thank God. However, there are obviously issues with how they operate, and Bobby Kennedy's going to be looking into that. So I want you liberals out there who are watching my show, because I know you do, because this was important. I want you to tell me what is exactly is untrue. And be specific in my chat if you're there, like the Joe Ragu clown yesterday. Tell me exactly what you disagree with and what's untrue about what RFK said in his opening yesterday about why the hell is the richest country on earth so freaking unhealthy? What beef could you possibly have with this?
That's true.
Check this out.
I want to say something about what you first said. When I launched my campaign, it was about uniting Americans, Democrats and Republicans. There's no issue that should unite us more than this chronic health epidemic. There's no such thing as Republican children or Democratic children. These are our kids. 66% of them are damaged. I know what a healthy kid looks like because I had so many of them in my family. I didn't know anybody with a food allergy growing up, peanut allergy. Why do 5 of my kids have allergies? Why are we seeing these explosions in diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, neurological diseases, depression, all of these things that are related to toxics in the environment? Why can't we just agree with each other to put differences about so many issues, intractable issues aside, and say, we're going to end this? I don't think anybody is going to be able to do this like I have because of my peculiar experience, because I've litigated against these agencies. When you litigate against them, you get a PhD in corporate capture and how to unravel it.
What do you disagree with there? What? I'm not suggesting that me and RFK was a Democrat, and I share very little in common with him on his past with environmentalism, which I believe is used as a proxy. I've come into this with an open mind, however. What did RFK say there you disagree with? Folks, listen, I'm not here to give you sob stories, but I was a really ridiculously unhealthy kid. I was. You don't need my life story because I'm not going to bore you to death. However, you name some malady, I had it. Asthma, eczema, whatever it was. I went through a lot growing up. Who really cares? I was told by, medical professionals, I'm not knocking doctors or anything like that in stereotypes, but it's true. Oh, it's this, it's that. He needs to put cortisone on, or he needs to stop eating this and stop eating that. Folks, I largely disregarded that and started doing this crazy thing called eating healthy. Eating homegrown stuff, eating meats and vegetables and healthy fats. And I'm going to tell you something. The advice I got about cortisone and all this other stuff, I'm just telling you for me, I'm not your doctor, do not take medical advice from me, was wrong. I started cleaning my skin got the staph out from under the fingernails, and I never had to deal with any of these problems ever again. I have not, thank God, thank you, Jesus, and I'm not using his name in vain, I have not had an asthma attack in 30 years.
Wow.
I am taking no medication for it at all. I don't even have one of those inhalers anymore. I probably should in case there's but I don't. Probably not. I don't because I'm just so not used to it anymore. What is going on here? If all the standard nutrition and medical advice of the day we used to get, eat rice cakes, was so accurate, then why are we so unhealthy? Why? You don't want a guy at Health and Human Health. The HHS liberal stands for Health and Human Services. Asking questions about health and human services? What is your beef with this guy? And to the Democrat frauds, whereas us Republicans out there, especially, thank you, Anita, for putting up how to email your senators in the chat there. For those in our chat and elsewhere, and the liberals listening to this
Hey guys, thank you so much for your support, guys. We got almost 600 people watching. If you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. It really does help the channel out so much. Thank you for your support.
Most of my listeners can get past the fact that RFK has a political past they don't necessarily agree with, because we are outcome-based. And if RFK is going to HHS to answer these questions, like why we're so unhealthy, my listeners are like, that sounds like a good outcome for me. Why can't Democrats do the same? Democrats loved RFK forever.
Yep.
Until RFK said, I think Donald Trump is a better guy to make America healthy again. And then what happened? These fake, phony frauds were like, that guy's Hitler, fascist, a Nazi. It shows you one side stands on principle and outcomes, while the other side is completely full of crap. Here, check out RFK and why the Democrats all of a sudden can't stand them. Check this out.
And all these Democrats are opposed to me for partisan issues. They used to be my friends. Agreed with me on all the environmental issues that I've been working on for my whole career. Now they're against me because anything that President Trump does, any decision he makes, has to be lampooned, derided, discredited, marginalized, vilified.
Guys, isn't that so true, guys? No matter what Trump does, there's nothing that he can do that's right. And right now, guys, I'm showing you. So today, Trump has called on Mike Johnson to move forward on a huge slew of things. This is literally what Johnson said. There aren't any easy decisions left. Trump wants to move forward. He said we've got to take back our country. We've got to clean out DEI. We've got to get the criminals out. And check out this, because unfortunately with the whole plane crash, guys, it was so heartbreaking. This is what Trump had to say. This is what he posted on Truth. The airplane was on a perfect and routine line of approach to the airport. The helicopter was going straight at the airplane for an extended period of time. It is a clear night. The lights on the plane were blazing. Why didn't the helicopter go up or down or turn? Why didn't the control tower tell the helicopter what to do instead of asking if they saw the plane? This is a bad situation that looks like it should have been prevented. Not good. Guys, I'm telling you, 100% accountability. And not only that, guys, check this out. I love it. Kash Patel has been laying some bombs today on Congress. He says that no taxpayer dollars will be used to harass government whistleblowers if he is confirmed as FBI director. Because guess who guys, I don't know if you remember him, but guess who got brought up today? Edward Snowden with Tulsi Gabbard, because she said that he needs to be pardoned. But guys, right now, we're getting a lot of different things over the analysis. Is he going to get confirmed? Is he not going to get confirmed? Trump has said if his people do not get confirmed, he is going to put Congress in recess so he can get his people in. Check this out.
Carrie, tell me about Bobby Kennedy. What did you think about the hearing today?
Wow, I thought it was great. I mean, it's like must-see TV watching all of these confirmation hearings. And this one is a little more near and dear to me as well, being a mom. And I think a lot of moms are watching this, moms who aren't even involved in politics and maybe normally wouldn't care in politics. Were glued to this today. I saw some of my mama bear friends who, haven't gotten overly involved. They don't watch your show. They're not posse members. They're just taking care of their families. And they were totally in tune to this today, watching somebody who's really stepped up as a hero for moms who maybe have kids with autism. I had a son with severe asthma, a chronic condition like asthma, where, going to the hospital a couple times a year became the norm for us. And we want to get to the bottom of why. Why are we seeing these diseases? Why are we seeing more of them? Why did it used to be 1 in 10,000 kids had autism, and now it's 1 in 36 kids? And Bobby Kennedy Jr. was the guy who was standing up to Big Pharma. Do you know how scary that is? That's, standing up to Big Pharma and the military-industrial complex. I think those are the two scariest entities in the world.
Yeah.
They will destroy you. And he stood up and he has been sounding the alarm. I mean, the fact that he wrote this book, it's one of the best books out there, The Real Anthony Fauci. They're scared to death, some of these people in Washington, D.C., because he's going to now be able to dig further and prove to the people what's really been going on. And he's been right about things. I mean, he was right about red dye. He was about it being a carcinogen. He was right about fluoride affecting our children's IQ. And what else is he right about? The moms out there who have really good gut instincts about what's going on with their kids, they are connected to Bobby Kennedy Jr. because he's the first guy to stand up and say, we got to make our country healthy again. And I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. I thought he did an incredible job. I disagree with you and Megyn Kelly, even though I love both of you. I thought his temperament was perfect today. You know, there's something very commanding about somebody who remains calm under pressure. When he had Elizabeth Warren screaming at him, he remained calm. The person who's screaming is the one who looks out of control.
Yep.
And there's nobody who understands the issue and the topic like Bobby Jr. If you've ever had a chance to sit and talk with him, his brain is like an encyclopedia. And today they kept pushing vaccines, vaccines, vaccines. I don't think that those senators realize the skepticism because of the COVID shot that moms and dads now feel out there about public health, about some of the vaccines that have been pushed on us. They want more information, not less. They want more transparency. That's what we're going to get with Bobby Kennedy Jr. I thought he did an excellent job today, knocked it out of the ballpark, and I hope that he gets the votes and gets confirmed. I think there's going to be a lot of mad mothers and fathers and young people out there who came into the movement simply because of him, who voted Republican maybe for the first time in their lives or voted for the first time in their lives, who will walk away from the Republican Party if they don't vote the right way, which is to vote for Bobby Kennedy for HHS. I'm looking forward to seeing him take on Big Pharma, and I thought he did an incredible job.
It's one of the reasons that you left broadcasting and got into the MAGA movement, became one of the leading lights in the MAGA movement. Could you feel the money in the room today? Could you actually feel Big Pharma, Pfizer, and these companies coming after Bobby Kennedy, ma'am?
Interesting that you bring that up because I was watching, I've been a little bit under the weather, as you can probably hear in my voice, and I was kind of laying there in bed watching. And the people who were yelling the loudest and harping on him the most, I thought, they must be getting a payout from Big Pharma, the big pharmaceutical companies. And sure enough, a little bit later, I noticed on social media that, you know, one of the top folks who gets money from Big Pharma is Elizabeth Warren.
Yep.
You would think that the Democrats would be on his side on this. They've talked for years about caring about our health, caring about health care. They only care about health care if it means pouring a ton of money into the pharmaceutical companies. And I don't think that's what healthcare is. I think healthcare is preventing illness, is making sure that, as what Kennedy said today, what is in our food is safe. We want to make sure that when we're feeding our families, feeding ourselves, that something hasn't been put into our food that makes it unsafe, and getting to the bottom of all of this. And, you know, I thought the questions seemed to really hit only on vaccines. There were so many other issues he talked about chronic illness and about, you know, really reducing the price of what we're paying for healthcare and getting a better quality for it. Getting a more high quality, healthcare, and they were so condescending toward him. It was actually embarrassing. He's one of the smartest people I know. Every conversation I've ever had with him, I've been amazed at the information he has that he's been able to store in his brain. And I think he showed that today when he calmly took on these senators, let some of them go into hysterics, and he sat there and answered the questions the best he could with them interrupting him.
You're one of the more important people coming in this administration, one of the most important jobs, the voice of America. I know you got big plans for it. You're not Senate confirmed, but it's got to go through a process to get you there. Talk to me about tomorrow as you see two of your colleagues going through, I think could be two of the toughest sessions. I think make Bobby Kennedy's pale in comparison. That is Tulsi Gabbard at DNI and Kash Patel at FBI. Give us your...
Guys, let me tell you this. It is getting so heated right now. Why? Because we know when the resistance is there. There's so much resistance to everything that Trump is doing. But even with this, guys, this is huge. That Trump signed an executive order to instruct Departments of Defense and Homeland Security to begin prepping the 30,000 person migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay. that most people don't even know about, guys. This is huge. Pete Hegseth is on it. And just want to say, guys, we have over 900 people watching. Thank you so much for your support. If you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button, guys. Let's get to 1,000 likes. Let's go. Guys, listen to this because they are on it. Pete Hegseth, all of them working together with Trump to make sure that we get the hard criminals out of here. Check this out.
Today, I'm also signing an executive order to instruct the Departments of Defense and Homeland Security to begin preparing the 30,000-person migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay. Most people don't even know about it. We have 30,000 beds in Guantanamo to detain the worst criminal illegal aliens threatening the American people. Some of them are so bad we don't even trust the countries to hold them because we don't want them coming back, so we're going to send them out to Guantanamo.
Joining me now, a man who knows a little bit about Guantanamo. He was stationed there. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. How you doing, Secretary?
Hey, Jesse, good. How are you?
Very good. So we actually can accommodate 30,000 criminal migrants at Gitmo?
Absolutely, we can, and we can plus that up very rapidly. As you mentioned, I served there. I know exactly the places where this would happen. Guantanamo has long been a place for migrants. In fact, in the 90s, tens of thousands of Haitian and Cuban migrants staged there as part of a crisis. We have an even bigger crisis on our hands right now. It was mentioned, 7,500 violent illegals have been captured by ICE in the last 9 days. God bless them. Where do you move them? I'll tell you what, no one's going to be waiting on the Defense Department. We're going to lean forward. We've made sure that we staging on the border to protect it, that we've got gray tails, which are known as military aircraft, to help mass deportations. And Guantanamo Bay, Jesse, is a perfect spot. We don't want illegal criminals in the United States, not a minute longer than they have to be. Move them off to Guantanamo Bay where they can be safely maintained until they are deported to their final location, their country of origin, where they are headed. So we feel great about this plan. We know we can execute it, and the Defense Department's prepared to do everything we can. We just laud DHS and ICE for what they've done, and we're coming alongside them to make sure we protect the American people.
Is the Defense Department ready for Panama? Because it seems like Panama is not really playing ball. Do you have a message for the Panamanians?
We'll see. The president has been clear about the fact that there's a neutrality treaty as it pertains to the Panama Canal. And if they don't allow for free and unfettered access that can't be shut down by other countries, then we have the right, we retain the right to do what is necessary to make sure there is free navigation in the Panama Canal. President Trump has said that will be the case.
And guys, today, breaking news came out today that with the Panama Canal, the president of the Panama said that they're not negotiating. They're not going to talk with Trump. They're not going to do anything with Trump pertaining to the ownership of the Panama Canal, guys. Get ready because we're about to see some big moves by Trump.
Our Defense Department is prepared. So I don't want to get ahead of what we may or may not do.
Defense Department, guys,
is an important thing, but we will have freedom of navigation in the Panama Canal, whether that involves the Defense Department or not.
Wow.
Let's move north then to Greenland. We're hearing rumors that Denmark's now spending $2 billion on additional defense, and France is considering sending troops. Are our allies really going to do that?
I don't think so, Jesse. The president recognizes how strategically significant Greenland is, even if other people didn't for a very long time. So now those countries who were supposed to be charged with protecting it, making sure Chinese interests aren't there, are suddenly flocking of interest because President Trump, as he has across the globe, has reshaped the game. So we'll end up seeing what happens there. We understand how critical it is to the Arctic, how much the Chinese would love access to the minerals. So stand by. We're watching it. We'll see what happens.
What's happening with DEI? How's that going at the Defense Department?
Well, DEI is not going well at the Defense Department because it's dead. We will, as the president said in his inaugural, we will be merit-based and colorblind, and that is the case at the Defense Department. DEI is going to be ripped out root and branch because we want everyone treated equally with high standards and held accountable with warfighting, lethality, and readiness front and center. We don't have time for emphasizing differences. Jesse, one of the dumbest phrases in military history is our diversity is our strength. Our diversity is not our strength. Our unity and our shared purpose is our strength. And the Pentagon is excited to get back to that core mission. It's happening rapidly. The services are responding, and those that don't want to respond can work somewhere else. So diversity, equity, inclusion will not be a part of the Defense Department, not a minute longer.
I expect you to find some undercover DEI operators. I'm sure you've probably uncovered a few already. I know you're getting sued by transgenders. Have you taken a look at that lawsuit?
Wow. Oh, we got the executive order, just like we did with the COVID reinstatement executive order, just like we got with the DEI executive order. And we're going to rapidly execute them based on readiness and capability for deployability. If there are troops who want to take issue with it, they will have the recourse in order to do so. But ultimately, the commander-in-chief sets who is prepared to serve. We will follow those lawful orders. And if there are folks that don't want to abide by those lawful orders, we will find a way to show them the door, eventually through the correct process. We want warfighters who are focused on readiness, and we're echoing what the president's saying about all those things.
So Tulsi, Kash have hearings tomorrow. If confirmed, you'll be working with them, I'm sure. Any advice? Your hearing went quite well.
Keep your cool. Don't take the bait. And know that a lot of them are disingenuous questions, but I'll tell you, Kash and Tulsi are fantastic. They're pros. They're ready for this. Bringing them into the national security apparatus at FBI and ODNI would be an incredible completion to the team we already have. So I know they're going to nail it. And ultimately look forward to working with them.
All right.
Guys, let me tell you this. A lot of people are saying, is Kash Patel qualified? What's his status? Guys, this is his full background list right here. Thank you so much, Virginia Friday, for the super chat. Let's go. She said, remember me in your prayers. We will do so, Virginia. Y'all show Virginia some love in the chat, everybody. So Kash served as the chief of staff to the Department of Defense and deputy assistant to President Trump. He served as deputy director of national intelligence, deputy assistant to the president, national security advisor, senior counsel, national security prosecutor. Guys, this guy has a phenomenal resume. But guys, I want you to see this because this is I'm telling you, we're about to get the truth like never before. Check this out.
What were you doing on that day?
On that day specifically, responding to preparing to mobilize and deploy the National Guard once we got the lawful request from the local governing authority, which was the mayor of D.C. and the Speaker of the House.
Now, how many days in advance were you working to prepare the Department of Defense to help secure the Capitol on January 6th?
Days in advance, Senator, we were in the Oval Office on an unrelated national security matter with the President of the United States, the Secretary of Defense, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and myself. And the president authorized up to 20,000 plus National Guardsmen and women to secure any security measures necessary related to the Capitol. So we were moving to the fullest extent of the law before the requisite request came from a local governing authority days ahead of time.
Well, sorry, guys.
And while you were chief of staff at DOD, how many times did DOD approach Capitol Police and ask if they needed National Guard assistance?
I believe those letters are well documented, numerous instances, and numerous of those instances, those requests were shut down.
Now, am I correct that the Capitol Sergeant at Arms said assistance was unnecessary?
That's correct, Senator.
Who did the Sergeant at Arms report to?
The Speaker of the House.
That would have been Nancy Pelosi at the time. Is that correct?
Yes, Senator.
And would that also be Chuck Schumer, then the Senate Majority Leader?
The Sergeant at Arms, yes, Senator, reports up there.
Did Mayor Bowser, the Democrat elected mayor in D.C., either request or allow National Guard assistance?
She put in writing on the days leading up to January 6th, a declination for National Guard additional support. And that letter is available publicly to the world.
So, just to speak English for folks at home, a declination meant she said no, don't send National Guard. Is that right?
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you a simple question, because from the questioning from my Democrat colleagues, they might think otherwise. Do you condemn violence against law enforcement?
All of it.
Guys, look, he blatantly called it out, and they said there's even more to this, that Nancy Pelosi 100% said no. Don't bring the National Guard to the Capitol, even though Trump said to, and even though they requested it for January 6th, guys. The truth is coming out. And just want to say, guys, thank you so much for your support. We literally have almost 1,000 people watching. If you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button, guys. It really does help out the channel so much. Appreciate your support. But guys, not only that, with the January 6th, truth is coming out. Listen to this.
That's not true. We have it. A whistleblower brought forward the list for us. He said then that only one field office had worked on it. Turns out we know from another whistleblower, multiple field offices worked on it. He said that it was never posted on the internal system. It turns out it was. We believe it's still in effect. Will you find out who was involved in this gross abuse of Americans' First Amendment rights? And will you discipline them? And if you possibly can, will you fire them, Mr. Patel, consistent with department policy and law?
Senator, you have my commitment to investigate any matters such as this one that are important to Congress. I will fully utilize, if confirmed, the investigative powers of the FBI to give you the information you require and also to hold those accountable who violated the sacred trust placed in them at the FBI.
I'm glad to hear you say that, and I'm glad you use the word sacred trust, because that's exactly what it is. The FBI is the most powerful law enforcement body in this nation, arguably the most powerful law enforcement body, at least in a free nation in the world. And to have this body corrupted politically such that it is targeting people of faith in this country and then lying about it to this committee and the American people is unimaginable. I'll be honest with you. I never thought this would happen in the United States of America. I just didn't. If you had told me 5 years ago we'd be reading memos like this, I would have said, no way, that's bad fiction. In fact, it's a horrible reality. The department needs to be cleaned up, the agency does, and rights restored and protected. I'm glad to hear you say that. Let me ask you this. Do you think it is appropriate for the FBI to be sending agents, including counterterrorism agents, to the parents of children who went to school board meetings and asked about critical race theory in their schools, asked about the school's masking policy during COVID? Should those parents be treated as domestic terrorists?
Parents who have the courage to ensure their children are taught what they feel is right, and those who have the courage of their convictions to go houses of worship, in my book, will never be domestic terrorists.
I'm delighted to hear you say that. You're familiar, I am sure, with this memorandum issued by the Attorney General, the last Attorney General, Merrick Garland, directing the FBI and other law enforcement agencies to look into parents who went to these school board meetings. And we know from whistleblowers who've come forward to this committee and given us the evidence that, in fact, the FBI opened multiple cases against multiple parents across the nation, I believe, including in my home state of Missouri. Another gross abuse, incredible political power brought to bear against everyday citizens. Why? Because they went to a school board meeting that their can't imagine. I couldn't have ever thought this would happen in the United States of America. Will you find out who was involved in this policy within the FBI, who agreed with it, who implemented it, who encouraged it? Will you find out that, Mr. Patel? Will you do an internal investigation? And will you make clear that those who supported this policy are appropriately disciplined? And will you make clear that the FBI will never do something like this again?
If confirmed and pursuant to your congressional request, absolutely, Senator.
Thank you.
Guys, can you believe that? I'm telling you, what I'm about to show you next, guys, we've been waiting for it. And look what Kash Patel just said. Kash Patel vows to pursue those who worked with Jeffrey Epstein. Who, guys, think about it. It's been years. We know there's politicians on there. We know that there's celebrities on there, yet we have no idea. Nothing's been said. No list. Why? Because they said it would be too damning. They said that if we did it, then we would literally be putting a lot of people in a bad spot, which they need to be. If you did those horrible things that Jeffrey Epstein had, then you should be put in a bad spot. But what I love is the next steps that Trump is going to make, guys. The team he has around him is phenomenal. Check this out.
Why he's so in tune with where the American people actually are. But it's also, I think, one of the geniuses of the way that he makes decisions is that he actually tries to talk to everybody. And that's something, honestly, I could write a book just about the way that he gathers information from all sources. Wow. And it's very unusual. I mean, in Washington, most politicians, if it's a national security issue, they'll talk to their national security person and maybe, somebody else in their office. If it's a business issue, maybe they'll talk to a CEO. The president talks to everybody, and that's a very, very profound thing about the way that he actually operates in Washington.
I would describe him as a force of nature, and there's nobody else like him.
Yes.
And I think in many ways he's misunderstood as well, because I know the personal side of him and I know the business side of him. And as we've seen hundreds and hundreds of executive actions, and you've been here barely a little over a week now.
Yeah.
Well, speed of light. It's speed of light.
We've, I think, accomplished, honestly, more in 8 days than the entire Biden administration accomplished in 4 years. And of course, the things that we're accomplishing are actually good things, and the things they were accomplishing were mostly bad things. But the president has incredible energy. I mean, this is something you hear other people say about him, and it's hard to really appreciate it until you're up close and personal. I don't know how much he sleeps or if he ever really sleeps. I mean, you'll get phone calls from him.
I can answer that. He doesn't sleep a lot.
You'll get phone calls at 1 in the morning, and he'll just, he'll talk about policy and he'll talk about your family. And he just, there's something incredibly energetic about him, but you sort of need that, actually. The federal government has become so sprawling, and the bureaucracy is so unresponsive to what the president actually wants to do that you kind of need somebody in there who's constantly on. It's all gas, no brakes. That's certainly what we've seen in the last, 8 days. I think it's what we'll see for the next 4 years.
Let's go.
When you look at, for example, the two biggest issues in this campaign, immigration and the economy.
Sure.
And because that's impacting the people in Ohio.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
That's impacting their life hard. And
That's
a lot of
absolutely
Americans have been really hurt. There was a study that came out, like 56% of Americans can't withstand a $1,000 emergency.
Sure.
It would be devastating for them. That scares me. I've been there. I've lived there. I know you've been there.
Of course.
Not fun. Not where you want to be.
Not fun at all.
And when I think of, the issue of immigration in particular, I'm looking at, we have known terrorists in this country.
Yes, we do.
have known cartel members, known gang members. We have known murderers, rapists. And I'm watching the reaction of the left and the left-wing media and the Democrats. And, we're back to Nazi fascists, Hitler, Stalin, Mussolini. And I'm like, what part of these other people are you missing?
No, it's totally crazy, Sean. And if you look, there was the guy who went viral a few days ago that we deported, 17 violent criminal convictions, and was actually saying—
The guy from Haiti.
The guy from Haiti.
Yeah.
He was saying, I hate Trump, I love Biden because Biden wanted me to stay in this country. Is there a better endorsement of Donald J. Trump that a violent criminal who shouldn't be in this country doesn't like him because Donald Trump is actually enforcing the immigration laws of this country? And it's everywhere, Sean. It affects everybody from all walks of life. It's the drug epidemic. It's the crime. It's the fact that if you live along the southern border, you're affected by this cartel activity. I mean, we've seen, Sean, just in the last couple of days, multiple cartel members have fired at our own border patrol. And you ask yourself, why wasn't that happening a couple of years ago? Because they weren't empowered to do their job. The border has become so lawless that we're actually engaging in military-style engagements just to regain control of our southern border. And thank God we're actually doing it this time.
Yes.
Because if we had another 4 years of Biden and the Democrats' wide open southern border, it would permanently and I think irreparably transform this country. So yeah, we're doing immigration enforcement in a big way. We're also doing things to lower the cost of energy because of course, if we can lower the cost of energy, we're gonna make food and housing, groceries, everything else more affordable for American citizens. And that really is, you're exactly right. That is the two prongs of the Trump agenda. We want to create more prosperity and we want to create more security, and we're doing a lot. We're going to do a lot more.
I want to ask about the economy in a second, but we saw Tom Homan. I mean, I don't think there's anyone
Talk
more...
about a force of nature.
I tried to make him smile. I've had no luck. If you pull it...
Guys, let me tell you this. What you're about to hear next, guys, is so powerful. There has never been, I want to show you something real quick though. There's never been somebody to sit in Congress and literally call out former huge secretaries of state Tulsi Gabbard calls out Clinton. She calls out a lot of top Democrats, guys. It gets insane. But I want to show you this, guys. Breaking news. President of Panama announces there will be no negotiations for the U.S. taking back the Panama Canal. And Pete Hegseth has already said, look, if we got to get the United States defense involved, we're going to get involved if they don't want to work with us on the Panama Canal, because that should be America's. So get ready, guys. This is going to be huge. I want to say thank you, Mr. Tracy J. Norby, for the super chat. Let's go. He said, fire them all on the Democratic side who have lied, told the false narratives like Shiffy Adam, Liz the corrupt Cheney, and drunk as a skunk Nancy Pelosi for one. She still has her little alcohol stand in the middle of the Capitol floors for delivery. Guys, y'all show Mr. Norby some love in the chat. And also Ruby Who for gifting One True Life News membership. Guys, thank y'all so much. We have over 1,000 people watching, guys. Y'all are amazing. If you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. It really does help out so much. We're so close to 1,000 likes, guys. Let's do it. But guys, check this out, because I'm telling you, never has anybody done this, and this is literally rocking Congress. Check this out.
I'm honored and grateful to President Trump for his trust and confidence in nominating me to serve our country as the Director of National Intelligence at a time when trust in the intelligence community, unfortunately, is at an all-time low. Chuck Schumer admitted a few years ago, quote, "You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you."
Dang.
For too long, faulty, inaccurate, weaponized intelligence have led to costly failures and the undermining of our national security and God-given freedoms enshrined in the Constitution. The most obvious example of one of these failures is our invasion of Iraq, based upon a total fabrication or complete failure of intelligence. This disastrous decision led to the deaths of tens of thousands of American soldiers and millions of people in the Middle East, mass migration, destabilization, and undermining of the security and stability of our European allies, the rise of ISIS, strengthening of Al-Qaeda and other Islamist jihadist groups, and strengthening Iran. Here are just a few other examples. The American people elected Donald Trump as their president not once but twice, and yet the FBI and intelligence agencies were politicized by his opponents to undermine his presidency and falsely portray him as a puppet of Putin. Title I of FISA was used illegally to obtain a warrant to spy on Trump campaign advisor Carter Page, using a Clinton campaign-funded false dossier as their so-called evidence. Biden campaign advisor Tony Blinken was the impetus for the 51 former senior intelligence officials' letter dismissing Hunter Biden's laptop as disinformation, specifically to help Biden win the election.
Dang.
Former DNI James Clapper lied to this committee in 2013, denying the existence of programs that facilitated the mass collection of millions of Americans' phone and internet records, yet was never held accountable. Under John Brennan's leadership, the CIA abused its power to spy on Congress, to dodge oversight, lied about doing it until he was caught, and yet has never been held responsible. Under Biden, the FBI abused its power for political reasons to try to surveil Catholics who attend traditional Latin Mass, labeling them as quote-unquote radical traditionalist Catholics. Personally, just 24 hours after I criticized Kamala Harris and her nomination, I was placed on a secret domestic terror watch list called Quiet Skies. Sadly, there are more examples. The bottom line is this must end. President Trump's re-election is a clear mandate from the American people to break this cycle of failure, end the weaponization and politicization of the intelligence community, and begin to restore trust in those who've been charged with the critical task of securing our nation. If confirmed as DNI, I will do my very best to fulfill this mandate and bring leadership to the intelligence community with a laser-like focus on our essential mission, ensuring the safety, security, and freedom of the American people. As the president's principal intelligence advisor, I'll begin by leading by example, checking my own personal views at the door, and committing to delivering intelligence that is collected, analyzed, and reported without bias, prejudice, or political influence. I enlisted in the Army because of the horrific terrorist attack on September 11th. And volunteered to deploy to Iraq in 2005, where I served in a medical unit. After nearly 22 years in uniform with 3 combat deployments to the Middle East and Africa, I'm now a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army Reserve, where I serve as a battalion commander of soldiers in Oklahoma, Missouri, and Arkansas. I served in Congress for 8 years on the Homeland Security, Foreign Affairs, and Armed Services committees. And it's my experience in the military and in the halls of Congress that have given me a deep understanding of the complex challenges that our nation faces, in both roles engaging with world leaders, in both roles being privy to highly classified intelligence. So I know firsthand how essential accurate, unbiased, and timely intelligence is to the president, to Congress, and to our warfighters. I also know the heavy cost of intelligence failures and abuses. Senator Collins, you led the creation of ODNI specifically to address those intelligence failures of 9/11 and Iraq's so-called WMDs. The need for the ODNI under strong leadership still exists today. If confirmed, I'll bring my experience and fresh eyes to leading the intelligence community. And my day one priorities will be to assess the global threat environment, identify where gaps in our intelligence exist, integrate intelligence elements, increase information sharing, and ensure that unbiased, apolitical, objective collection and analysis to support the president and policymakers' decision-making occur. I'll work to end the politicization of the intelligence community and ensure there is a clear mission focus in the IC on its core mission of this unbiased, apolitical collection and analysis of intelligence to secure our nation. I'll work to rebuild trust through transparency and accountability.
Yes.
This is a national security imperative. And I'll work to assess and address efficiencies, redundancies, and effectiveness across ODNI to ensure focus of personnel and resources is on our core mission of national security.
Guys, let me tell you this. It always gets brought back to mind whenever Mark Cuban said that Trump doesn't put any strong, intelligent women around him. Trump has amazing women around him that are doing some amazing things. And just want to say, guys, we almost got 1,100 people watching. We're so close. If you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, guys, it really does help out so much. Let's get to 1,000 views, guys. 1,000 likes. I want to show you guys how heated things got. This was probably the most crucial moment today in the congressional hearing. Check this out.
Guaranteed, do what every other major country does. It's a simple question.
And by the way, Bernie, the problem of corruption is not just in the federal agencies, it's in Congress too. Almost all the members of this panel are accepting, including yourself, are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry.
Oh, no.
Protecting their interests.
Oh, I thought that would go. No. I ran for president like you. I got millions and millions of contributions. They did not come from the executives, not one nickel of PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. They came from workers.
In 2020, you were the single largest
because I had
receiver of pharmaceutical money.
Contributions from workers all over this country. Workers,
you were the
not a nickel from corporate PACs.
You were the single largest acceptor of pharmaceutical dollars.
No, from workers in
1.5 million.
Yeah, out of 200 million. All right, but
guys, you see that, guys? I'm telling you, it's heated. And what I love too is why? Because Trump is moving so fast. His people are also going to move fast, and they're working to make sure that do what? Put America first. Get us as a priority, guys. Check this out.
This administration's moving at political light speed. Trump's on track to sign more executive orders in his first few weeks than any president did in their first 100 days. Today, the flurry continues, and his Sharpie's working harder than Biden ever did. 47's going to defund schools that teach CRT and yank visas of pro-Hamas college students. Trump's also creating a task force to plan America's 250th birthday celebration. And the president has a plan to make architecture beautiful again. Trump wants to give new federal buildings a more classical look, grand structures with columns like the Lincoln Memorial and the Capitol building. It's what our founders envisioned, a new Rome. Oh, and Facebook just agreed to pay Trump $25 million for censoring him after the 2020 election. Just add another wing to the presidential library. If it seems like a lot's happening all at once, that's the point. Trump's flooding the zone. He tried it in his first term, but the New York Times says, quote, this time the flood is bigger, wider, and more brutally efficient. He has enacted his agenda at breakneck speed as part of an intentional plan to knock his opponents off balance and dilute their response.
Let's go.
Jamie Raskin says, quote, it's been overwhelming sensory overload. And another congressman said, quote, it's a little like drinking from a fire hose. The media can't keep up either. Journalists say covering Trump's like going to war. It is grinding and emotionally difficult work that often feels futile and can lead to PTSD, substance abuse, and mental health issues. Democrats are still politically grieving Trump's win. Millions of Americans who voted for Kamala Harris remain collectively stuck in the various stages of grief. That grief is made even more painful by the fact that tens of millions of other Americans are jubilant at Trump's return to the White House. They're sad because you're happy. Assistant Coach Walls tried to give his voters a little pep talk.
Everybody's fatigued. Trust me, I get it. It was pure hell, and the disappointment and the frustration. And I'm, soul searching. What could we have done to make the case? Because we knew this was coming. We knew that the implications. And they're throwing so much at us that we're fatigued.
Great pep talk, Coach. Everybody's tired, and so am I. Just like Bobby Knight would have said. Not really sure why Democrats are tired, because most government bureaucrats are still working from home. DOJ says it's already saving us $1 billion a day with their cuts, and they're just getting started. They chopped $45 million in DEI scholarships for Burma. It's a good start. Some feds are trying to resist, but it's not working out too well. Trump fired a USDA Inspector General Phyllis Fong, but Fong didn't want to leave the building. Security had to come in and escort Fong out. Fong was in charge of investigating bird flu. Now eggs are $10 and millions of chickens are dead. She was also the architect of a 5-year plan for DEI at the USDA, so bye-bye. The resistance got escorted out of the building. But Schumer has a big surprise for us. We've been wondering where he's been since the inauguration. He woke up this morning very excited.
People are aroused. I haven't seen people so aroused in a very, very long time in terms of trying to get this done. So yes, I think democracy will have an effect, and we are going to keep at it.
Michael Duncan and John Ashbrook.
Let me tell you this, guys. Where we're moving towards, I love it. We are so close to making some of the biggest changes that are going to affect everybody, guys, in the most positive way. And what I love is that they're not holding back. Tell me one thing that Trump has done that he said he's going to hold back. Nothing. Everybody on his team are disruptors, and that's what we need right now is disruptors. And guess what? A lot of people don't know that Trump and his team are getting hit with a ton of lawsuits right now, trying to sue them over the changes that they are making. But this is where Alina Habba comes in. She's counsel to the president. And guys, this is where, again, too, they're going to fight every step of the way. But it is very important that Trump knows we cannot stop. We have to keep the momentum going. And just want to say, guys, thank you so much for your support. We're so close, guys, to 1,000 likes. If you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, it really does help out so much, guys. We're so close. Check this out.
Well, they think you guys opened the door by putting out a general memo without the specificity. But where does this stand tonight?
So I'm happy you asked me about this. The OMB rescinded their memo. Their memo was what caused confusion, and I understand that, but the president's freeze is something he stands by, and that is why we have entities like DOJ. That's why we're canceling entities like DEI. We're stopping all of the CRT, the Green New Deal, and all the garbage that the last administration frankly left us with. Now, to stop that, we have to pause. And the pause, as we've said, 100 times over, is not going to affect Americans that deserve this assistance, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. But this is the left wing's narrative, Laura. We're used to it, and none other than Chuck Schumer himself to pick. I mean, they could have picked a new person, but, you know, they're old games, old tricks, same old people. And we heard from them, and that's what they're trying to do, fear-mongering as usual. But no, the freeze is in place, but what we are doing is examining how we're spending taxpayer money, and we're doing what the responsible thing to do is, instead of frivolously throwing money around as if it's not our own.
All right. Well, I worked in the White House eons ago, okay, and I know how these memos can get written and rewritten. They get drafted, redrafted.
Yeah.
But how does that happen when an OMB memo goes out that obviously left the door open for this confusion? Because clearly it's vetted by the White House counsel's office. It's read over by multiple people. So do you have any idea how that happened? Because then it leaves it to people like you who have to, you know, kind of clean it up.
Answer the questions. Look, the truth is we've been really clear on what it is and what the president wanted to do, and that is still standing. We have not changed the president's directive. We are going to have a freeze. Yes, do I think that there was obviously an OMB memo that they had to rescind to clarify? Sure, but don't forget that the reason we had to do that is because the left-wing media spun it so much and put it in front of a judge who was clearly trying to make a platform for himself politically. So now we're doing this to avoid that nonsense and have the American people get what they voted for on November 5th, which was a clear mandate that swept the entire country. And that was to put America first and stop spending stupid money.
Yes. I don't know, billions and billions going out the door for ridiculous programs that never should have been funded. It's a joke.
50 million towards condoms in Gaza for Hamas. It's absurd. That's what we've stopped. And we stand by those decisions. And President Trump made the right decisions and will continue to do so.
Lots of money to be saved. Now, the ladies on The View, Elena, have really important agenda items to talk about, like this one.
She said there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you. Because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah. I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10.
So they're sniping at Carolina Levitt, who did a just bang-up job in her first day in the briefing room. Does this surprise you? Women, mean girls thing? I guess that's what we come to expect.
You know what's confusing about this, Laura? And you and I support each other as strong women with voices in America. And I will say this. I thought that the left-wing media, I thought the liberal agenda was that we're supposed to break glass ceilings, that we're supposed to support each other and lift each other up. Caroline Levitt is overqualified, brilliant, and was well-versed and ready. She answered every question. She didn't need a thick binder, Whoopi. Sorry. Unlike our last press secretary, who was put in there for DEI reasons. Caroline Levitt was a part of our team during the campaign. She was a spokesperson. She did a tremendous job. And it is very clear that what she did on her first day, she will only continue to grow and be amazing further. So I think the hateful messages from The View are exactly why we won the election. They're part of it. And I want to thank them for handing us the White House.
Girl power. So much for girl power. It's only...
Guys, let me tell you this. The power and I love it, guys. It's from everybody. The pit bull to fight against all the craziness in America and put forward the truth is amazing. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for your support. We got almost 1,200 people watching, guys. If you haven't hit the thumbs up like button, please do so. And if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button so I can take care of you every day with the top news, guys. We're so grateful for your support. We make sure you get the breaking news, guys, and know what's going on every single day. Remember, 2 shows a day, Monday through Friday. And then 1 show on Saturday, 1 show on Sunday. Want to give some love to Virginia Friday, Mr. Tracy J. Norby, Ruby Hoove. Y'all show them some love in the chat, guys. We're so excited where things are going. We're still waiting for Pam Bondi to actually have her confirmation hearing in the Senate. But we're going to keep you up to date with all of Trump's people every single day, guys. We love you. We thank you for your support. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.